Welcome to From the Pages, and this issue of Superstar Wrestler lands at a moment when professional wrestling feels massive, unstable, and constantly on the verge of explosion, with promotions expanding, stars growing larger than life, and the magazine positioning itself as a scoreboard, a rumor mill, and a time capsule all at once. Even before the editorial content begins, the issue sets its tone through its front matter and production listings, quietly reminding readers how many moving parts are required to deliver this world of rankings, photos, speculation, and debate every month, followed immediately by full-page advertisements for official poster magazines and poster books tied not just to wrestling, but to pop culture blockbusters like Star Trek, Conan, Superman, Rocky, and Rambo, reinforcing the idea that wrestling belongs in the same heroic universe as action films and science fiction, something to be collected, displayed, and identified with. The magazine officially opens with Star Talk, its rapid-fire editorial section that blends news, commentary, and tone setting. The editors thank readers for riding with them through 1986 and make it clear that 1987 is shaping up to be even bigger, even more volatile. Hulk Hogan is framed as the dominant force in the WWF, still sitting on top of the mountain, but the column immediately introduces tension by leaning heavily into the growing speculation surrounding Andre the Giant. Andre's behavior, health, and alliances are all questioned, and the possibility of him aligning with Bobby Heenan is treated not as idle rumor, but as a looming threat that could fundamentally alter the balance of power. The column also touches on Stan Hansen's hunger to reclaim prominence, reinforcing the idea that nothing at the top is secure, and that challengers are always circling. That restless energy continues through the early photo and caption pages, which function like visual news bursts rather than traditional articles. Buddy Roberts is highlighted, while commentary points out the increasingly negative fan response to the Honky Tonk Man despite his continued push. Roddy Piper is positioned as unfinished with Adrian Adonis, Ace Orton, and Don Morocco, suggesting that grudges remain unresolved. Jimmy Hart boasts loudly about the strength and intelligence of his stable, while illustrated artwork of Animal amplifies the Road Warrior's aura as something almost mythic. Additional photos and captions spotlight the Sheep Herders, Chris Youngblood, Rick Rude, Manny Fernandez, and Paul Jones, each framed as a player in a constantly shifting landscape where alliances are temporary and egos are permanent. The issue then slows down and focuses inward with a full superstar personality profile on Tony Atlas. Presented almost like a scouting dossier, the profile lists Atlas's hometown of Roanoke, Virginia, his physical statistics, his favorite hold, his toughest opponent in Abdullah the Butcher, and the championships he has captured across multiple territories. But the profile deliberately goes further, humanizing Atlas by detailing his personal interests, including drawing, weightlifting, attending church, watching television, and listening to Van Halen. Photographs of Atlas sketching artwork reinforce the magazine's recurring theme. Wrestlers may be presented as giants and warriors, but they are also people with private lives, creative outlets, and identities beyond the ring. Debate is reignited with the official ratings, one of the magazine's most argument-provoking sections. Here, fan opinion is transformed into numbers, with wrestlers ranked by popularity and hatred. Hulk Hogan sits firmly at the top of the popularity list, while Ric Flair dominates the most hated rankings, visually reinforcing how divided fan sentiment can be. Beyond individual lists, the ratings expand outward to include tag teams, singles competitors, and champions across numerous promotions, including the WWF, NWA, AWA, UWF, World Class, Continental, the Northwest, the WWC, and the ICW. Names, belts, and territories stack up relentlessly, turning the wrestling world into a sprawling hierarchy that invites endless comparison and disagreement. Reader voices return in superstar letters where fans write in with praise, criticism, and requests, including calls for increased coverage of Barry Windham. The letters section reinforces how closely readers track who receives attention and who does not, and how personal those editorial decisions feel to the audience. The magazine then dives into its major narrative features, beginning with Andre Makes His Move, a story that examines Andre the Giant's changing role within the WWF. His suspension, reinstatement, physical condition, and potential alignment with Bobby Heenan are all explored with the article framing Andre's situation as a slow-burning crisis rather than a sudden turn. The implications for Hulk Hogan are made clear. If Andre truly shifts sides, the balance of power in the WWF could collapse overnight. From there, the issue pulls back for a wide-angle look at 1986 in review and predictions for '87. The review revisits how cable television reshaped wrestling, allowing promotions to reach national audiences, and fundamentally altering how stars are made. The WWF recap highlights WrestleMania 2, Hulk Hogan versus King Kong Bundy inside a cage, Roddy Piper versus Mr. T in a boxing match, the British Bulldogs clashing with Greg Valentine and Brutus Beefcake, the King of the Ring event, and a rundown of major feuds and arrivals. The predictions then look forward with confidence, forecasting Andre versus Hogan at WrestleMania 3, Ricky Steamboat defeating Randy Savage, the Hart Foundation capturing the tag team titles, a possible babyface turn for King Kong Bundy, and Jake Roberts emerging as a fan favorite. These predictions are presented not just as guesses, but as conversation starters designed to spark debate. Territory Focus follows with coverage of the AWA, noting its ESPN exposure, the loss of major stars like the Road Warriors and Jimmy Garvin, title changes, and ongoing feuds that illustrate how even established promotions are vulnerable in this new national environment. The annual Readers' Poll results hand power back to the fans, revealing who is most loved and most hated based on voting. Expected winners share space with surprise results, further fueling argument and discussion. Spectacle-driven attractions round out the feature content, including Mr. Fuji versus Hillbilly Jim in a tuxedo match, a bout built entirely around humiliation and showmanship, and Dusty Rhodes' Bunkhouse Stampede, described as a chaotic multi-man brawl involving roughly 25 wrestlers where survival and toughness matter more than technique. The issue closes its editorial content with superstar exclusives, including a nightlife-focused photo feature on Scott Hall that emphasizes image and lifestyle, Hulk Hogan's appearance on the Joan Rivers show as evidence of wrestling's growing mainstream crossover, and Tiger Chung Lee's involvement in film, reinforcing that wrestlers are increasingly crossing into other entertainment worlds. Throughout the issue, the advertising reinforces the same themes as the editorial. Poster magazines and poster books promise ownership of larger-than-life images. Wrestling books and instructional materials sell knowledge and mastery. Subscription ads push long-term commitment, and back-issue offers sell completeness and control over history. The ads are not distractions, they are part of the ecosystem, encouraging readers to live inside wrestling, not just watch it. Taken as a whole, the May 1987 issue of Superstar Wrestler captures a business in motion, defined by looming betrayals, dominant champions, shifting loyalties, and constant fan debate, a snapshot of wrestling at a moment when it felt too big to stabilize and too loud to ignore. If this issue brought back memories or sparked an argument, drop a comment with the prediction you remember getting right or wrong. Hit like if wrestling magazines were how you followed the business before the internet. Share this with someone who remembers arguing ratings pages, and subscribe so we can keep turning these pages together. See you next time. Farewell from the Empire State.